And welcome back to Vancouver Actors Podcast, episode 4. I am your host, Michael Coleman. One of the recurring questions that we've had so far is how do we deal with being nervous at auditions? A lot of people will say, I feel like when I rehearse it at home or when I rehearse it with my coach or with my boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever it is, I feel like I nail it, and then as soon as I get to the audition, it's like I lose it all. I get so nervous and I get so scared and I just start losing things. So it's a really common trait that happens and a common occurrence. I'm actually going to give you some advice. A lot of acting skills we can learn fall outside of the traditional acting books. So one of the most important books that I ever read was a book called Super Freakonomics. And there is a part of the book in Super Freakonomics where it talks about training police officers to go into highly stressful situations. And it's really fascinating because it talks about when they go into highly stressful situations, a lot of times certain parts of their brain just shut down and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And they lose the ability to have some of the common social behaviors or ideas that they would have had. And it's a really fascinating chapter, and it'll help understand also the highly stressful situation we do as actors when we go into the audition room. So in the spirit of that, I want to walk you through a couple of different ideas that I have. They're a little there we go, so good. These are some of the different exercises that I personally use. There's 1,000,001. If you have something that isn't on here that works for you, we'd love to hear from you because we would love to add to our repertoire of ideas. Again, Vancouver Actors Podcast's mission is to diversify and strengthen our community here in Vancouver and to create more opportunities for us all. I mean, the reality is the more of us that get really good at this and the more of us that work together will create the brand or the awareness globally that this is where people want to come and where they want to start casting from. So let's continue to work with each other and let's find win-win situations. When one of us gets better, we all get better. So here's some ideas that I personally use with regards to finding a way to navigate my nerves. Again, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've worked with many of these casting directors for decades. I've been on different shows, some for, over 5, 6, 7 years. And I still get so crazy nervous every single time. It blows my mind. One of the things I love is that it keeps me nervous, and that means it's important to me. Like the nerves to me tell my body, oh, this is important. That's why you're scared. You're about to be vulnerable. You're about to share your art, and you really care what people think. And that's a cool feeling 30 years in to still, I feel like it's this, if you had the ability to feel like that first spark of romance every day for 30 years. And I think we get to do that as actors, and that's exciting. So I'm going to walk you through how we transition some of the fear into excitement, because a lot of the physical and emotional elements of fear and excitement are very similar to one another. So I'd say let's not get rid of our fear. Let's just transition it into excitement so that we can come from a place of confidence that we're going to be able to behave truthfully under imaginary circumstances. So the first thing I'm going to talk about here is something called square breathing. I actually got this after I had a serious medical condition. I had a life-threatening disease where it caused some PTSD type elements in my body, and one of the therapists I worked with did something called square breathing. So I'm just going to show you here really quickly here with a diagram in terms of how it works. And I'm going to say, I've always done square breathing based on a 6-second system. So what I would do is inhale, a steady inhale for 6 seconds, and then at the end of the 6 seconds I hold it, and then I hold it for 6 seconds, and then I do a steady, consistent release of that same air for 6 seconds, and then I leave it out of my body for 6 seconds. Now, if you do this even for a minute or two, I guarantee you're going to find an epic change in the level of nervousness and how grounded you are with your body and the world around you. If you do this for a couple of minutes, you're going to come to a place where you have all your emotions are going to be accessible, you're going to be grounded, you're still going to feel that excitement, but it's going to transition from fear into excitement. So again, it's very difficult for me to talk and do this, but basically, so I'll try to do it in a series of 4 seconds, but I would slowly just realized if you're not watching this podcast and you're listening to this podcast, this might be the dumbest thing we have done yet. Basically, I have been inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, leaving it out for a 4. It also is the same sound I make when I have too much dairy, as I am lactose intolerant. So this is our square breathing. The next thing I have was a great exercise I learned when I'm having an immediate panic attack, and again from the same stressful medical situation, but it's something I find great for my acting, and it's just referred to as the 5 sentences. So what you do is you ground yourself, you sit, you relax, you look around you, and you find 5 things you can see, and you identify them. So I might say TV, chair, floor, photograph, light switch, and I just find 5 things I can see. Then I touch 4 things: dry erase, wall, wood watch, face. So I touch 4 things, and then I listen for 3 things: the sound of my own voice, the street traffic outside, which hopefully you can't hear because our microphone is so good, and then I don't have a third one, so maybe I'll. And now I'm into the third thing. Second thing, I want to find 2 things I can smell. The room I'm in right now has a nice, pleasant aroma. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but I can smell the room. And then the second thing I usually do is I try to find something on my body. So I actually love the smell of my wood watch, so I'll smell my wood watch. Now my senses have gone from 5 things I can see, 4 things I can touch, 3 things I can hear, 2 things I can smell, and finally 1 thing I can touch. In a COVID world, it's probably not a great idea to lick your hand, but that is what I do. My final piece is always just a lick of the hand, and then I feel what my hand tastes like. But you'll find that when I access all 5 of my senses in a very controlled, simplistic fashion, my panic attack dissipates. And I find it really helpful in auditions, because there's some auditions where I'm nervous. I might be sitting there and didn't know famous people would be auditioning for this. Oh, they also invited the good actors in this city. Crap. So there's a lot of different things that can create anxiety for us. Or, oh my gosh, it's so many pages. Or, oh my gosh, should I ask that question? Oh my gosh, everybody else is wearing a shirt that's the same. I'm the only one not wearing that shirt. Oh my gosh, I'm blowing it. There's a lot of reasons we can get excited and upset, but when we do our 5 senses, that helps. And then when I'm in the room, another thing I do is just a simple thing called 5 truths. And what it does is it just gets my mind into a default. I'm just into a natural, organic, immediate response to being authentic with the truth. So I'll just sit in my chair often. Instead of thinking about all my words or memorizing my script, I just sit there, black chair, blue wall, Riverdale poster, camera, tripod. Just 5 things. TV, wood watch, 4 fingers and a thumb, wedding ring, sniffing sound. Anyways, I'll just find 5 truths and I'll say them out loud. And when I get myself into the truth, then I'm not worried about behaving truthfully in our imaginary circumstances. I've already organically just got myself into a place where I'm into a default truth mode. So I find that to be a really, really effective thing. The last thing I would say is if you get a chance and you're at the audition and you've maybe done the square breathing, which should work in itself, and I'm telling you right now, if you do it, Do it in the car ride over, the transit ride over, or do it while you're in the room. Try to get there, 15 minutes early in a non-COVID world when we're all back in the room again. If that doesn't work, 5 senses of truth should work. But a final system, and one that you can add, and it's very comfortable, just put your feet shoulder width apart, put your hands down, your shoulders down, close your eyes, good posture, and just check in with everything. Start at the top of your head and slowly let your mind talk to the different parts of your body. I always wiggle my toes. I always let my fingers try to fall to the ground. I keep my shoulders relaxed. And then once I get to this state where my feet are squared off to my shoulders, good posture, nothing stiff, my hands are not in my pockets. Unlike now, I'm not talking, and I'm just sitting here, and I tell the top of my head, relax, and I see if I can relax my scalp. I see if I can relax my forehead. Like a lot of people, I carry a lot of tension in my jaw, so I just, for those listening and not watching, I open my mouth, I move my jaw around, I let it go. When I take a deep breath in, my shoulders don't go up, I take a full breath. I hold it as I'm doing my square breathing. And as I release, I try to let my fingers go closer to the ground. And I leave it out. And I might send a signal to my shoulders, I might send a signal all the way down my arms, and I try to connect to each part of my body, letting it know it can relax. And I find that I still have that vibrant energy I had from fear, but that vibrant energy is no longer putting me into a place of fight or flight. It's now placing me in a similar titillated sense, but from a place of confidence and excitement. Now I'm excited to go on the roller coaster. I'm not afraid of it. I'm excited for the journey in front of me. And I make no promises that I'll be word perfect. I make no promises that everybody will love what I do. But I do make the promise that I have learned how to serve the story. I've put in enough preparation where I'm prepared, I'm professional, I'm on time, and I'm excited for the opportunity for direction. Because if they give me direction, it usually means they like most of what I've done, but they're curious what else I can do, or they're curious what else it might look like if I take it in a different direction. They want to know what my abilities are in terms of if I'm going to be on set. Are they going to be able to give me a note or a direction and not have me just nod my head and say I'll do it, but can I actually do it? And that is basically how I find a way to deal with my stress or my nerves. I'm going to give you one last final piece of advice. When I do my preparation, and again, for anybody who's followed the Vancouver Actors Podcast, you'll see that I use a really core basic simple that we call the Great Opera. It's an acronym that stands for goals, result, emotion, assertions, tactics, obstacles, personalizations, environment, relationships, and age or time. And I use those 10 things as a core foundation in addition to the other tools I do, finding what's not on the page, find the fun of the game, a lot of different character work and research that I do. But I do so much work that when I'm here, I am not at that place of development or preparation where I'm still wondering, oh my goodness, am I going to mispronounce that word again? Am I going to forget that line again? There's so many things that we can get really caught up in. I do all that work at home, so of course I'm going to do it right. Of course I'm going to say it. I learned it so well that, yeah, I could do it forwards or backwards. And more importantly, I didn't go home and learn the lines. I learned the story. And because I learned the story, most of the lines just make sense. And when I say something that maybe isn't word perfect, which script editors are going to hate, story editors are going to hate, and they should, script supervisors. But if I do, at least I'm going to stay in character, and I'll show you that I understand the story. And it doesn't happen often, but when I do flub a line or whatever, I'm so confident that I've learned the story, I can just keep going with my scene. I don't do that awkward, hey, I'm so sorry, can we do it again? I made a mistake. It's a common thing, right? We see that. How'd your audition go? I don't know, I forgot a line. The good news is, most studies will show you that only 7% of communication is verbal, and 93% of it is going to be like body language, context, facial expression. So even if you forget a line, you made a mistake out of 7% of your audition. So you still could have nailed the other 93%. You could still get an A+ on that audition if you only forgot a line. That's okay. The key is, what did you do when you forgot the line? Did you know the story well enough that you could keep going? Did you know the story well enough? Were you grounded? Did you do the pre-work so that when you get a redirect and you realize that you need to get a line right, that you were able to regroup, reset, and get it right on the second take? Anybody who's, again, when you've been in the industry as long as I have, I've worked with some of the names of, some of the bigger names in the industry. And one of my favorite things is when they make mistakes. I love when famous people make mistakes, especially people I grew up watching, because then I realize, oh my gosh, even my heroes screw up their lines once in a while. So I'm by no means suggesting screw up your lines, don't learn the words, anything like that, but realize it's actually a part of it. So learn the story, learn how to get grounded. Square breathing is invaluable, and then just learn how to self-assess so that you know that if you went in and served the story and did what you meant to do, and then you were able to hear the direction if they asked for a redirection, and not just nod your head and do it, but actually apply it, you will find that you'll be one of those actors that gets invited back in time and time and time again. One of the most complimentary things I think a casting director can say, and I saw a local casting director say this about a fellow actor the other day, that even when there's nothing in a certain project for one of the actresses we have in town, she brings her in anyways because she's just such a great storyteller that the casting director says, even if she's the wrong look, age, height, whatever thing that we might still be looking at in terms of characteristics, she's such a good storyteller that she'll often change the director or producer's mind because they want her serving that story. So keep that in mind. You know, there's going to be a lot of elements of this business that, yeah, you're right. There's an element of luck. There's an element of look. There's an element of a lot of different things. But if you learn how to serve the story to an element that you're capable of direction, you're capable of getting yourself grounded in a confident delivery, you're going to find yourself in more casting rooms than not. And when you're in more casting rooms and capable of taking direction and working professionally and respectfully with the casting directors, you're going to find yourself on set more often than not. People often ask me, what is my audition success rate? And I say it's 100%. That doesn't mean I book 100% of the things that I go out for. Blows my mind too. But I go in, and every single time I go in with enough preparation that I know I've served the story. I feel really great about the work I did. I feel a lot of gratitude for the opportunity to do my work or my art. I don't call my agent later to ask if we booked it or not. I consider the audition the performance. And if they really liked the performance, I will do it again, but you got to get me a trailer and you got to pay my rate. I'll always work for free once. So I think actors that get into that mindset and start treating the audition like it is the show, do it. And treat it like that is it. You've got a paid audience. Sometimes it's an audience of one, sometimes it's an audience of a camera. Do that, get to a place where you know you've delivered a great performance, and you're not showing the potential of, imagine this acting if it was only a little bit better, give me more time. Don't do that. Show them what it can be. That doesn't mean you're not capable of direction. It doesn't mean you're bringing in a final piece, but show them what a professional actor can do, and you'll find yourself on set more times than not. So this is our final podcast until January 4th, when we will be back. Our producer, Lydia Rimmer, L-Y, why not, LYDIARIMMER at storyinstitute.ca. She'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. She'd love to get ideas on some guests you might like us to bring in. Perhaps it's directors or other actors or casting directors, agents. There's a lot of different people we're happy to bring in. Again, our mission is to create a stronger, more diversified, more inclusive community. And any questions you have, we'd be happy to help. And if you're newer, or even if you're not newer, if you have questions you think we might be able to address or help, please fire them off and we'll do our best to answer them here on the next podcast. So ho ho ho, Merry Christmas if that's what you celebrate, or whatever you're doing with your time. 2020 has been a year, so let's let it be what it is. And let's all look for something bigger, more beautiful in 2021. Vancouver, we've got our issues, but we've done pretty good so far. So pilot season and the whole year, I'm hearing lots of great rumors about different shows and movies and animated projects that are all planning on being here in 2021. That window of opportunity we were looking for, it's here. So let's be better than we've ever been. Let's be supportive of one another, and let's create one of the top film destinations in the world, which we're already there. So let's just make it better. Happy holidays, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you in 2021.